Hi everyone, welcome to today's tutorial, and in this video as you can see I have made this template for a perfume bottle. So it's a packaging done for a small perfume bottle, and for reference I had used this as my reference image. So I had used the same packaging template over here, but I have changed it a little bit and gave it my own name for my perfume and made my own logo as well. So I'll show you how that's done. But before that I'll quickly save this. Okay. And I'll close this so that I can show you how I've done. So the first thing I want to do is that I'll be opening up a new document. So for this video, I'll be using my first artboard is going to be this custom size document, which is 1000 by 1000 pixels, and I'll rename this to Perfume Bottle Packaging. Okay, so I'll be zooming out a little so that I'll be making more shapes around this document for this template that I'm going to make. So this first document that I have opened up is going to be the front side of this packaging right here, where the name of the fragrance and like the weight and this portion is going to come. Okay, so let's first make our template. So as you can see, there are some flaps over here on either side and as well as on the top and the bottom, right? So what I'll be doing is that I will be using the rectangle tool, and I do not require the stroke as of now, and I let the fill remain white. So I'll first start I'll first start by making a rectangle over here, and I'll make another copy of this same rectangle on the other side as well. So to do that, I'll be clicking on Alt and dragging my rectangle onto the other side like that, so it becomes into a copy. Now as you can see that there are more flaps on the top over here and as well as the bottom. So coming back to our document, I'll be using the rectangle tool again, and so I'll make one square over here and I'll copy it on the other three sides as well. So I'll repeat the process by clicking on Alt and dragging it like that, selecting these two, clicking on Alt and dragging it over here with Alt. Okay, just gonna adjust this a little so that it aligns with the rectangle we've just made. Okay, and there's this another bigger rectangle and a smaller rectangle over here for the flaps, so we can easily do that like this. Like that. Okay, so once that's made, I can go ahead and make slight changes in this, but I'll be doing that later. I'll be first adding all my elements here. So there's another bigger rectangle square here, which is approximately the same size as the front portion of our box, and we'll be making this one now. So rectangle tool again. This time I'll be giving certain dimensions to my square, which is going to be 1000 by 1000 by 1000 pixels actually, and I'll just drag this one right about here And okay, so I'll just select these two, go to object, transform, reflect. I click on the horizontal one so that it becomes into a mirror image on the opposite direction. Copy, and I can just use the shift and the arrow keys to move it around like this. Okay. Select these two, shift it a little bit more. Okay. Just slight move. Okay. But temporarily I'll just also add the stroke so that you are able to see all the different rectangles and squares we've made. Like that. Okay. Once that's done, and I'll just make another rectangle over here on the side. This. Okay. Once that's done, I'll go ahead and now add the colors. So I'll be using the rectangle tool again, but this time I'll be changing the fill to be black, to be dark blue. And oops, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is that I'll just select the rectangles and the squares we've made. All these, and I'll change its fill to dark blue like this. This one, dark blue. That. And now for this bigger document, I'll be using the rectangle tool and giving the same dimensions, which is 1000 by 1000 pixels. And I'll make sure that my fill is the same dark blue color. And just for now, I'll remove the stroke as well and get it over here. Just put it. Okay. Now that we have done, so now the only thing that is left is that I'll be just adjusting the corners of some of the rectangles and squares so that it looks more realistic. So I'll be using the direct selection tool. I'll select this anchor point, and by clicking on shift and the arrow keys, I'll just bring it inwards and like that. Now repeat the same process on the other rectangles and squares as well. This. So I'm going to select these two anchor points. No, wait, I'll select this anchor point and get it downwards. So I'll select that anchor point and just move it upwards like that. So now that we have done, the only thing that's left to do is that I'll have to just round the edges of this rectangle and this rectangle. So I'll just select these anchor points by clicking on my shift button on my keyboard and round the edges off like that. So once that's done, we can go ahead and also lock this layer so that when I'll make the graphics on my template, I do not accidentally move any shape around or delete the color by accident. Right, so we can also rename our layer and type the word template. I'll make a new layer now and I'll rename layer 2 to be graphics. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is that over here where the logo is written, I'll design my very own logo and then I'll apply it right here. So you can use any image of your choice, or you can follow along the steps that I'm going to be using to make my own logo, right? So For the logo, I'll be removing the stroke. No, actually I need the stroke to be white, and I do not require the fill as of now. So I'll be using the ellipse tool, and I'll come over here on the side. The first circle that I'll be making will have the dimensions of 50 by 50 pixels. I'll zoom on this. Okay. So I'll again choose my ellipse tool, come over here to the center of my circle, and the next circle that I'm going to make will have the dimensions of 100 by 100 pixels, and get that on the middle as well. Okay. My third circle will have the dimensions of 200 pixels by 200 pixels. That here. And my last circle is going to have the dimensions of 300 pixels by 300 pixels. That. Okay. Now I'll be using the line tool and make one straight line going from the center of all the 4 circles, and like that. So if you want to make a straight line like the way I just did, so make sure that you're clicking on Shift and then dragging your mouse to make a straight line. So once that's done, what I'm going to do is that I'll select these 2 circles by clicking onto Shift, and I'll select the line as well. And I'll select these and and I'll just move it upwards so that it intersects like this. I'll select these 3 items again, click on Alt to make a copy, and make a similar copy on the bottom as well. So what I'm going to do is that I'll be changing the angle of rotation of these 2 lines. So I'll select this, use the rotation tool, and get this light blue icon in the middle over here. So to do that, I'll be clicking on Alt and getting it right here. And I'll give the angle of rotation of this one to be 315 degrees. Now I'll select the second line and use the rotate tool as well. By clicking on Alt, I'll get this light blue icon over here in the middle, and this time I'll give the angle of rotation to be 45 degrees, and done. So what I'm going to do now is that I'll select these 4 lines that we have just created, and I'll be rotating these as well. So I'll be using the rotation tool and get this light blue icon. Zoom in. And get it over here where the lines are intersecting. And over here in this angle of rotation, I'll be giving the value of 315 degrees and clicking on copy. Now you can see that you'll get this kind of a design. Now I'll select the lines and I'll hide them temporarily. So by going to Object, Hide, and Hide Selection. So I'll select all these 4 circles we've just made. I'll select the Shape Builder tool and select a really bright color such as yellow. And now I'll start combining the shapes into one single shape. Right? So I'll combine it like this. I'll zoom in. Like this over here, and I'll combine these as well. Okay, so once that's done, I'll select the combined shapes and I'll hide these as well. I'll select all these guide circles that we had made and go ahead and delete them. Go back to object and click on show all. So now you're left with this. So now I'm going to rotate this around this axis right here. So I'll select this, come to this rotation tool again, click on alt and move this light blue icon here in this middle like width. So make sure you get this over here. I'll be giving the angle of rotation to be 315 degrees instead of 45 degrees and click on copy. And we can just click on Ctrl plus D. Now that you've made one copy, we can click on Ctrl plus D to make several other copies and you will be getting this kind of a shape. Now we can just go ahead and delete these lines. And if you like, we can go ahead and also change the color of some of these shapes like this. So I'll be changing the color to be red. Looks contrasted. So select this to be darker shade of red. And there you go. So I'll select all of these and I'll increase the stroke weight from 1 to 3 like that. Now that we've made our logo as well, I'll select all of this and also reduce the size . This I'll reduce the size and I'll get this logo right about here. As you can see that it's still a little too big and like that. Now it looks a lot better. So now what I'm going to do is that I'll be adding this name plate over here, this big square, along with these stripes on the side as well. So to do that, I'll be using the rectangle tool again and I'll click on Ctrl plus 0 so that I come here to the middle. I'll change the fill of my shape to be this light orangish. And I'll let the stroke size be the way it is and I'll increase it to 2 for now. So what I'm going to do is I'll just click and drag my mouse to make this kind of a rectangle. I'll make sure that my rectangle is still selected. Go to Object, Path and Offset Path and give the value in the offset path to be -10 pixels so that I get another smaller square like this, and I'll change its color to light peach like this and go ahead and also remove the stroke. Now that's done. Now for the thin long straps going on either side. So I'll be using the rectangle tool again, and this time I'll be changing the fill to be this orange color, but I'll make it slightly more lighter shade like this, and go ahead, make one stripe like this and make another stripe like that. Now once that's done, I'll go ahead and also lock this layer so that when I'll add the text, I do not accidentally move my graphics around. So I'll go ahead and make a new layer, and in layer 3 I'll be renaming this to text, and then click on Ctrl plus 0, and then we can go ahead and add our text right here in this middle of our box. So I'll be giving it a really fancy name to my perfume bottle. I'll type out the word fragrance. I'll select this and increase the size to 72, and I'll also change its font to this slightly calligraphic font, which is Gabriola, and I'm going to expand this. So I go to Object, Expand, and OK. So now what I can do is that I can go ahead and also make it a little bit more bigger, and I'll go ahead and also change the font color to white like this. And to give it more depth, to make it look a little bit more 3D, I'll select this, select the text, go to Effect, Stylize, and add a drop shadow. And I'll let the drop shadow's opacity to be 35%, and click on OK. And as you can see that there is a slight drop shadow right behind the text, which makes it look like a 3D effect. Now once that's done, we are almost done with this. The only thing that is left to add is some more text on the back. I'll add one logo over here and just add another text over here which says the approximate weight of the perfume bottle. So I'm not going to write everything, but you'll get an idea. So this will be like the dummy text which goes behind the bottle, which will have pointers such as the manufacturer, the manufacturing details, batch number, expiry date if it's needed. I'll select this and change the font, the fill to be white like that. And this time we do like this. And I will just get it over here. And now for the weight, or the approximate weight. The approximate weight would be around 3.4 oz, and I'll change the fill to be white as well and get it over here. The last thing I want to add is like one last logo over here. So I'll be adding this green dot icon. Since it's too big, I'll resize this. I'll resize it like this. Resize this further and get that over here to my main document like that. And I'll close this one as well. So there you go. We've made our perfume bottle packaging, and the only thing that's left to do is to save our file. So to do that, I'll be going to File and clicking on Save As. So by default, you can see that my file name is the same as my document name, which is the perfume bottle packaging, and my Save As type is going to be Adobe Illustrator. So I highly recommend that we save a file in this format so that in case if I want to make any further changes, I can easily access my AI file. And we click on Save, yes, and OK. So now that we've come to the end of our tutorial, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did and you found this useful. And you can use similar templates as well to make different kinds of packaging for different products as well. And that's it. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.